Recently, I've been getting a ton of requests, people asking for videos on start to finish tracks on the MPC using only the sounds and the plugins that come with the unit. So this is the first of many upcoming videos. There's a link down below if you want to grab this project for free, follow along, remix it, use it in any of your productions, however you want to feel it, just grab it down below on the link. And also in the comments below, let me know what kind of genres you'd like to see for these start to finish track videos, all made on the MPC. With this track, I really had no idea of where it was going to go. We just started with a 125 BPM, a 4 to the floor kick pattern, and then just kind of went from there. So this is a rather longer video, so there's also timestamps below if you want to jump around to any section, including the drum beat, adding the bass, adding the pads, adding the ARP, adding the lead, and then breaking down the sequences into a main section, a breakdown, and a build-up. Now, I didn't go through and put it into song mode, so you can go and you can take all these different sequences and do what you'd like with them. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Let's take a quick listen to the final result of what we're going to be watching being made, and then jump right into the video. All right, so there's no right or wrong way on how to start a song. Typically with something electronic like house, techno, I'm gonna start with the drums, just kind of get a groove, and then I can jam along with the drums. Right off the bat, we'll change this to 125. Hit do it. And on track number 1, I am gonna use samples, so we are gonna go into the MPC Volt, which is just kind of the factory bank. Everybody that has an MPC should have that. But right away, I'm going to rename this to drums, keeping everything nice and organized. And then I'm also going to call this drum program right here drums. Hit do it. Then I'm going to hit shift and browse and go into the Volt 2 pack. Now, a couple of ways you could get there if you have it. You could go into your expansions. I like to go to my places just because it's faster for me to get there than scrolling through all the expansions, because I know right where it is. I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to search for a kick. Now on this, just make sure under your auditions that you have auto turned on. That means when you're scrolling through these kicks, you're actually going to hear what they sound like. If you want to sync and warp, that means when you're playing back a loop, it will sync it to the time of the project, and it will also play it back in time of the project, and then you can adjust your level right here. So actually, you know what, to start, I'm just going to load in this kick because it's good enough. Select this pad right here, click enter to load it in. Now we have that kick going on, and let me just find a clap. I actually like this short little guy. Click over there. Okay, cool. Let's do a hi-hat. So I'm just going to type in hat. That's not bad. Let's do that. And then I want to open hat. So let me search for open. Oops, and I hit that. So let's go back here. That's a little messy, but we're gonna clean it up because I actually like that sound a lot. And then let's just load in a bunch of perks up top so we can have sort of some offbeat perks in the top loop. That's kind of, oh, I like that shaker. Let's load that in. I like that guy. I like that guy. You know, let's not overthink it. Let's throw a snare right there. A lot of times I'll go back and replace these sounds. I just want some basics. So let's go ahead and sequence these. So let's go to main. Couple ways we could sequence it. We could do it live. But let's actually do this step sequencing. So if you hit this guy right here, now we're in the step sequencer. First thing I want to do is hit select the pad and then select what I want to input. And I'm going to go full velocity up here. So anytime I enter in something, I'm going to go through. I actually want to change this real quick to a 4-bar groove. Let's go back into here. And I'm just going to jump through my bars really quick. I'm on bar 4, so I'm just going to go backwards now. Select pad, clap on 2 and the 4, 2 and the 4, 2 and the 4, 2 and the 4. And let me do that same thing with that guy. And bar number 4. And I want to put a little offbeat guy in here, so let me do one right there. Actually, I want that pickup to be right there. I want to bring down the velocity so it's more like a ghost note. And then we can come back and let's do actually a little note repeat on this guy. I took off the full level so we can get this kind of groove going on. Let's make sure you get it to go all the way around. So now that I have that groove going on, I actually want to come in here and just edit this little click out of this. So I'm just going to go into edit sample. We can see that right here. And that's all I want out of that. And I want to put that on the thirds. So since I know where I want to put it, I can go back into step sequencer and I'm going to go to pad select, which it should be the last pad that I hit. And I'm just going to click this guy in. I'm on bar 4, so I'm just going to go backwards. And you can see we don't have velocity, full velocity turned on. So if I want, I could add a little bit of ride in here just to give it a little bit of kind of groove. We may level this out with a compressor, but for now, let's just do that. The velocity is subtle, but you can hear it in there. So. I want this guy to actually just go. So that's kind of what I want for the groove. And I'm going to open this up so I can edit the volume of these pads kind of as we're going. And this guy, let's put some reverb on it. So since we have this open, which you can get to just by hitting the eyeball right here, since we have that guy open, I'm going to just throw some reverb on here. So this guy is just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. That would be under delays and reverb. Just the air verb is fine enough, but I want to edit that and turn the mix down. And the pre-delay is cool because you can give it a little bounce like a ricochet. And that just adds another groove element. I'm just doing that by ear. And I want to bring up the time a little bit. And also inside of here, let's just add a filter so it's not as bright. So we're going to come down here to the filter, edit that out. Just there we go. We're going to work off that drum groove. We may add some more drums and some top loops, some shakers, maybe a loop on top of that. But right now, let's just jump right into adding a bass. So I'm going to add a new track. And on this track, I want to use a plugin. So I'm going to call this guy bass. And down here, I'm going to rename this bass. There really is no right or wrong with music production. You may find a sound and think that's the shit. You work on it for a little bit, and then after 5 minutes of working with that sound, you're like, oh, this is garbage. Ooh. Let's go up here and let's just turn this down 1 octave. So we have room to go down and then also room to go up as well. Again, I have no expectations of where this track's gonna go. We're just jamming and seeing what happens. So let's see what happens. Yeah, so bum bum. Let's try that. Kind of cool. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to hold down menu and jump into my program edit because I want to tweak the filter cutoff. So click on here, filter cutoff. We can see it's a 3rd row over. So let's just click on that guy. And let's say I want to record that in. It's really easy on the MPC. I'm just going to change that to W, grab my knob right here, and hit start. And turn that off, and we'll see the movement. End is a little unclimactic. Let's do that again. Turn it back into right. There we go. And I kind of want a chuggy like underneath that. So just so we don't have too much muck in the low end, I'm going to come in here and let's add a filter on just the sweep the low. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this from low pass to high pass 4, and then we're sweeping. So that's going to be kind of our bass groove on top of a chuggy bass line, just to give it drive, because that's a cool top element, but it's not really giving me the energy I want on the low end. So let's go back into main. Let's just hide that guy to keep it clean. And we're going to add a new track, and we're going to call this bass drive. That sounds cool, sure. And I want to make sure that I'm going to add a new program, so I'm not messing with the program inside of track number 2. So I'm just going to hit new program. I'm going to call this bass drive. All right, so just to avoid all of the muck that's going on, let's come in here and let's go into this. We're going to add the mother ducker, which is in dynamics, all the way down under M, mother ducker, and then we want to come back into our main, we want to switch over to our drums, and on our drums, on this kick right here, we want to make sure to switch over into pad. So we're only adding it to A1. We want this to be our mother ducker input. So this is sending the signal to then duck the bass line that's doing that pumping. And let's go back over here into the bass drive, open up the mother ducker, and now we should be seeing a little reduction, but we have to adjust some. Let's do that instead. And let's just bring up this kick just a little bit. It might be clipping in here, but that's okay. So based on what we have so far, this is kind of going to go in sort of a, I guess, melodic-y kind of vibe. So let's throw some arps in here, some chords, and we're just going to keep adding stuff on top of this and just kind of make a very melodic, rich track and see where it goes. So we're going to go to a new track, number 4. We're going to call this, let's say, pad number 1. And down here, again, we're just using all stock. So we're going to go to a new one and we'll call this pad 1. And for the pad sound, let's actually go into hype, which has some really cool stuff. That's actually really cool. We should try that out and see if this works. I really like that. Let's lay it in there. So on these guys, we can hear that the velocity was actually pretty low. So if we select any of these guys right here, we're able to bring the velocity up. You'll see the color change accordingly. Let's zoom into this guy. I'm just going to bring all these up to kind of match them. And you can hear how, since it's not starting on the 1, it has a groove to it. So let's see what happens if we actually put this on the 1 by coming to nudge, bringing that over. See, it loses all the groove. So we want to actually put it back to where it was. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. Now let's go back into our main and let's add an arpeggiator over that. So we're going to go into a new track, track number 5. Let's just call that arpeggiator. I'm not sure exactly the politically correct way to say it, so I'm just going to call it an arp. We added a new program, so we're not messing up any one before. And with arps, I like to go with the hype and do some plucks. There's a lot of good plucks, bells. Hype has, I think, about 1,500. Okay, so that ARP sounds a little cheesy. What if we changed it from up to... And maybe it's a sound as well, so we're just going to kind of... I'm not mad at that. That sounds pretty cool. Let's try one or two more sounds just to see. I really like this noisy pluck. Let's try it. I feel at this point that's good enough for, let's say, an A section. So what we can go through and do is we can add a B section, a breakdown, and a buildup. So I'm just going to come in here and let's call this guy the A section. Now let's start copying this sequence over into other sequence slots. So go to copy sequence. We're going to change this one and call it B. This will be our B section. We're going to copy it again. This is going to be called our breakdown. And let's do it one more time and we'll make a buildup. With a capital U. All right, now we're back in the main. So let's go into section B and maybe add a long evolving lead over this part of the track. So for that, I'm going to go and create a new channel. Let's call this lead. We're also going to add a new plugin program, and we'll call this lead as well. And for this, I like the hype, and we can come in and there's a lot of good stuff in here. There's a bunch of different leads, but let's go to lead summer and just see what we... That's not bad. So let's actually double the length of this so the lead can evolve over a longer period. So just double length. Now we have 8 bars to work with. Okay, so that's not a bad sound. Let's just mess around with some ideas here. That's not bad. It's kind of got a cool little melodic vibe to it. So let's track that in again. And let's see what kind of movement we can get with maybe messing with this filter cutoff. That's a lot more interesting. So let's change this to right and find our start point. And with this reverb, let's see if we turn up the mix quite a bit. I'm happy with that as far as a lead goes. So let's move on over into our breakdown section. Now, inside of a breakdown section, what we're going to look at doing is muting some things. So for our breakdown, we probably want to stick with the pad. Let's just take out the pad and the, let's just take out the bass and the drums, see how that sounds. And let's bring in the low bass and leave that melodic bass out of it. And what I'm going to do is actually copy this breakdown and make a breakdown section 2 where a clap comes in. So I'm just going to take this, copy this sequence. Let's call this breakdown 2. And for this, since I muted the drums, I'm just going to make track number 7 its own drum program, specifically just for claps, just to put it in there real quick. And then add a new program right here and call this claps. Browse real quick and come to our expansions, the Vault, search for claps. Because what we're actually going to do is delete the buildup. We're going to put this as the buildup and put a big snare roll underneath it. So let's just record these guys in real quick. And then let's come back into our main. We're going to take a look at our sequences here. And if we go to the buildup, what we're actually going to want to do is just delete this sequence. So what I'm going to do actually is just copy this over. I know we already have one that's called Build Up, but I'm going to make this Build Up 2. And on this guy, let's actually double the length so it has a really nice big swell to it. Double the length right here. And inside of these claps, I'm going to add a snare right here. And right away, what I know we need to do is we need to put a filter on this guy. So let's do that real quick here. So let's just record this in from our main. Let's go to overdub here. And then let's go into and now what I want to do, oh, let's actually go into here. And once we record that in, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add a filter to this. So let's put this into write mode, grab our filter here, and we're going to record this over the length of that 8 bars evolving up. So let's start pretty low. That's where we want to start. And right away at the beginning, you can see that it has a bad catch to it, so we're just going to wiggle this guy. Now that we have that snare build, let's go in and just add one more track to just this build up 2 section, and that's going to be some sort of plug-in instrument, and we're just going to call this riser. And we're going to see what we can find inside of Hype's effects here. So let's go to Hype. And there should be a full effects section in here. Sound effects, riser pitched. Sure, let's see what happens. Okay, so that's a down. Actually like that, so let's put that in. And also what we're going to do is we're going to come back into this clap section, and we're just going to delete the last bar of all this stuff just to give it a rest. I feel music is all about the spaces you provide. And let's go back to main. You know, we have a riser. Let's add one more effect in here. We're going to call this effect 2. And let's new program, rinse and repeat, effect 2. Hype just has a ton of different effects in here. Perks, general atmospheres. I mean, we could come in here and see what we have for. That's we could really get lost in here just with the amount of soundscaping possibilities that you can get out of Hype. So just for the sake of time, let's do this one. Let's bring the volume of that guy down. And also, if we come into here and have a look at the filters, let's just do that. So we need to turn that guy to right. All right, so essentially what we'd have so far is we'd start off, say, with this breakdown. And hearing that back, just to add more movement to breakdown 2, let's go into our mute and let's mute that bass. If you got to the end of this video, I thank you and salute you, because it's a little bit of a longer video, but the music making process is never really as quick as we think it's going to be. And that's kind of half of the fun, is stumbling into those happy accidents and those random moments. Again, thank you so much for watching. And again, please subscribe and comment below. Let me know what other styles and genres of music you'd like to see in these videos. And there's links down below to grab this project. On that note, thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Now go make something cool.